Welcome back to Planting Life Matters. It is all hands on deck, people. Oh, Jennifer, that shepherd's hook with the bird cage, Jordan, hold, let's get that out the way.
Hold on, it's a branch right there.
Okay, Jordan, can you take the shepherd's hook out behind you for that glass bird cage breaks? It's not gonna stay there.
He's gonna stay there.
Hi, Jackson.
He's gonna stay there.
Are you having fun?
He's gonna stay there. He's gonna stay there. You are for the same. Would you like me to keep recording? Can I record this? I thought I would do my first rainy day tour. And it's April, it's the end of April, so why not? Let's check out some of the progress that we've made. I have some new plants again. That's what I do. Oh my gosh, check out this beautiful, beautiful blue lobelia. I love it. I picked it up from Lowe's yesterday, and I cannot wait to get this into the ground. That is so pretty. I wanted to test it out. I've never grown those. Of course, more hosta. My goal is adding more perennials. And I love, 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 love this by Proven Winners. It is a stone crop, and it's gorgeous. I cannot wait to get this in the ground. I'm looking for the tag. Here it is. It is called a Rock and Grow Back in Black. It gets up to 20 feet wide and tall, 20 to 24 feet. So it's a little small shrub size, and it's hardy up to negative 40 degrees. That's awesome, and drought tolerant. I picked up a couple of more Mystic Spires Blue. I got a lot of those this year. And which is interesting because when I bought them early in the season, they said perennial, and this is my first time growing them. But these two that I picked up actually state as annuals. So I really hope they're perennials. Here's a larger version that I picked up earlier, and most of them are in the ground. I only have these two in pots. So I'm going to start with Madison's Garden. Oh, wait, never mind. Let me go back. When I come out of my back door, I'm actually on my back porch, a really small patio area. And so I don't have the fountains running right now, but this is the area that I am adding plants to still. I have a lot of seed in here. I have purple elephant ears that are coming back. I have one house plant, two house plants. I have the palm plants that typically would go indoors. And also, I have a Dracania I hope I'm saying that right. Not good with houseplants. This is it here, that I cut off of a 4 foot tall one, put it in some water and let it root, and then I transplanted it into soil. And the hosta and some dark purple leaf canna lily is back in there that will put off some orange flowers. You know, last year my elephant ears got to be at least 8 feet tall. So we're going to see how these go this year. So a lot of fun little things in there that will be coming along in the next month or so. The sunshine, and I always laugh, ligustrum, ligustrum. Tomato, tomato. I say ligustrum, but I am a country girl, so it is what it is. They are doing fantastic as usual, and they got cut back last season. I will say that video that I did on trimming back sunshine, ligustrum, is probably one of the biggest video hits that I have, and I get tons of questions on it all the time. So it is time for a trim on all the shrubs. In fact, these are Japanese boxwoods that are probably about 5, 6 years old, maybe, quite large. This one is probably about 4 feet by 4. And I'm going to trim that back because you can hardly see across the bridge now going into my little courtyard area out there. But let's go this way. I always go this way. So I'm going to turn around and go this way. I have ligustrum on this side, which I never show. This is 3 in total that came in quart size containers that I left out from summer to the following spring, laying on the ground, no water, no attention, and they were sticks when I put them in the ground. I would say they grew about half the size from spring through fall, that fast. This is one of the fastest growing shrubs I've ever seen. I have dianthus that I planted. Now, both sides of this sidewalk here are pretty much mimic the same. So I have Laura petalin on this side that I planted this spring, along with a border of pink and white. They look like this, dianthus, and that are not really in bloom right now. Now I have this huge peach tree, which is full of peaches right now. I'm going to have probably the biggest crop ever. And, do the dianthus get enough sun? Maybe not right now. I'm not that worried about it because certain parts of the dianthus seem to be growing a little better than others. But when it gets to be triple digits, it's going to appreciate this peach tree. All right, so in this area, a couple of new plants like the balloon flower plant. My first time growing that, just testing things out. And I've said it 1,000 times, this has to be my favorite plant this season, the Mystic Spires Blue. I have a lot of day lilies that I've added to borders. That's not all weed in there you're seeing on the ground. That's a lot of seedlings that are coming up, where I typically will just toss in a bunch of zinnia seeds. I have a zinnia blend that has zinnias that grow up to about probably 4 feet tall, some of them. I have a tickweed plant my sister brought to me last year. It didn't put off any flowers, and now it is full of buds, and that will be coming through. So let's keep going. It's funny how I see the blue spruce succulents that just pop up sometimes in the gravel areas. There was a plant hanging out of this basket at one point that had this in there, and just from one piece dropping last year is what I got. So I think it's coral lemon, a lemon coral sedum is what that one is. So you can see how the dianthus is growing. The dwarf Laura petalin is growing well. And my lamb's ear, they're getting eaten up by some kind of bug right now. I just treated yesterday. I have some purple lantana that is in this little spiller container. You can't tell right now because there's no sun, but this plant is one of my favorite plants when the sun is out. It's a yellow purslane, and this will grow later and fill in this entire area and start to spill over onto the ground. I put a blueberry in to grow up this pergola. So I've never grown blueberry.
So hopefully it will grow. I don't expect it to grow up that high, but this is a pergola. This is really pretty at night, by the way. I have some white corded lights that are added. And my rose, unfortunately, is looking sick. I've been trying to wait and see. I've treated it. I wasn't sure if it was a rose rosette, but I believe it is. So I can't tell exactly, but huge signs pretty much to say yes. But what a gorgeous, gorgeous rose. I love it and hate to let it go. I've pretty much gotten rid of about 11 roses so far this season. You know, here where I have the Laura Petland drift used to be drift roses. I planted 2 seasons ago on both sides. So I think I took out a total of 8 or 9 of those a couple of months ago. I do have a hydrangea that was on the other side of the garden that I transplanted. It was not in a happy place, was getting too much sun. I think that's the little lime. Tucked in some more hosta. And you'll notice that it's not that pretty because I haven't put in any mulch just yet to make things look better. And that's intentional for right now because I still have a lot of irrigation that I need to put out. So that's why everything's not that tidy just yet. So this area here, again, a lot of blue spruce sedum, which is one of my favorite things. If you have an area that doesn't get enough water um, or just bare and you don't know what to plant, this is such an awesome plant. It's so easy to propagate. You literally can just pick a piece off and that root right there, just me burying this in the dirt will start an entire new section of sedum. Now, the cool thing about it is later it will start to put off shoots and have incredibly beautiful yellow flowers all over it. One of my favorite things to look at. So we're entering the hot mess zone. Here we go. It's coming along. It is coming along. So all of the grass has been removed. I have been killing it off for the last couple of weeks. It's been hard getting projects done. One, because I start so many without finishing sometimes. This year has been that way for sure. But the other issue has been, I've been under the weather quite a bit for the last several weeks. And on top of that, the rain. You have to work as much as you can, and then you can't because the rain kicks in. We went from 80 plus degrees a couple of days ago to today is the high is only going to be 50 something. We just have such weird weather in Texas. But as you can see, I don't want to walk. Well, I guess I could go on the little steps here. I have some hosta that is getting eaten up. I haven't put my grub treatments out yet. I'm really behind on doing that. And you can see they love eating the hosta and the elephant ears. Hosta and elephant ears are what I'm struggling with the most right now. I've seen a lot of snails and grubs as well. But I do have some treatment I'm going to put out, and that stuff works pretty good. I'll put a picture up of what I use. So all the grass is removed, and this will be replaced with St. Augustine. My daughter said to me yesterday, Mom, just do turf, and I was really tempted to do turf, and I struggled with that for a while. Should I? But I love St. Augustine, so I'm going to go with it and see what happens. So I did kind of finish, well, not quite. So I at least got in a few landscape timbers to hold in the soil on this area. It's a very low area back here. The water runs off. It just kind of goes down this way. And so I have some soil, but not enough. I have a load that's coming in where I'm going to fill this up a little bit more. So I'm probably need about another 3 to 4 inches of compost and soil mix I'm going to add in here, I think anyway. And then I thought of that after I planted my boxwoods, which these are Japanese boxwoods on this side, have not been trimmed yet. That's another big project I need to get to. And so I think I did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxwoods. And I took out the old purple fountain grass, which, by the way, I wish I had recorded this. Whenever you put fountain grass into a pot, and some plants overall, the roots are so root bound, you can't get them out. You can't just pull the plant out. And even if you wet the soil. So I take a little cheap saw and I just cut around in a circle, and then that plant pops right out. Okay, so my red tip photinias I put in last year are doing amazing. The goal is to tree farm those and watch them climb over this fence and give me privacy. I will show you the two that I did previously. These are just a few months old, but I see nice, beautiful red coming through. So that shows me new growth and it's doing great. Some of them look better than others. I did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so I'll keep an eye on those and give you guys updates. Now, this area is still a work in progress as well. It was nothing but just weed. The grass would not grow back here. This is an interesting area because I am west facing, which is a lot of sun. However, because I have the canopy of the large crepe myrtle trees that I let grow naturally. I do not cut them. I do not murder them. Crepe murder. Google it. It's a thing. Makes me angry. I don't chop them back. So I want them to be natural like this and create these canopies that I can walk under. But also because if you look back there, there's a field behind my fence. Eventually, they're going to build something. So I'm trying to create some privacy. So because of that, I don't have a lot of sun at certain times of the day. It's an interesting gardening option of plants that I have to look for that are part sun, part shade, and it gets challenging at times. But for right now, I am creating, I don't even want to call it a seating area. I just had a bunch of extra chairs and tables. I don't have anywhere to really store. This is really supposed to be more of a pathway. And so now I can cut across here. My fence blew over with the storm last night. I need to fix, but this is going to be a gate whenever I finish this area. I'm actually picking up some brick. I'll show you in a little bit where this is going to be an entry and this eventually will be a gate. And so once I have more of these stones in the back of my truck that are going to finish out this area, and I'm either going to create a pathway all the way up and clean this area up too and define it a lot better. I'm still having challenges with grass because of these chase lounges under the tree. The grass just will not grow here. You see how green it is over there, but not so much over here under the trees. Okay, so my red hot lips salvia, I cut it all the way back to the ground because it was not looking so good after the last freeze, but it is starting to bloom now. And hopefully I will get red blooms all over this really soon. It's a very, very pretty salvia. And the reason I put it under a tree, it does prefer full sun. But like I said, I get sun, I get shade, everything happens here. But I love hostas, and I really wanted hostas in the front of the tree. And I needed something that's going to give a little bit more shade and protect them. So I grew the hot lips salvia as a tall barrier for sun. So when I get around to the front, I could put in either carex grass, which is struggling right now, and hosta mix. I have not cut back my daylilies, not daylilies, my oh gosh, I'm losing it. I can't say the word. It'll come to me later. But my tulips, those things, I still haven't cut. But daffodils. Haven't cut those back yet because you want them to get to a point where they're starting to wilt and look a little yellowish before you cut them back. And the purpose of that is so the green part can grab all the photosynthesis and sun that it can to run down to the bulb and feed the bulb for next year. And then I'll cut them back when they start to kind of peter out. So I have some Everriddle carex grass, one of my favorite things. And I put these in late fall last year, and they may not have had time enough to root before the first freeze. I lost a couple of them. I think I did like 15 going down the north side of my house. But if I see green in there, I'm not pulling it. So I can take scissors and cut all the ugly off. I just haven't done it. and be patient or replace it. But it should look like that. They're still green, so I'm gonna hang on. Just, cost too much to throw those out. So what's new? What's new? Last night, my daughter and grandson and I, we put this metal gazebo in, and oh, that was fun. I might do a video on that. We did get some of it, the work that we did, because you get into fights when you're putting things together sometimes. Yeah, we had some good doozies. And I had to concrete those into the ground as well. So I will talk more about that later. Have some fun ideas that's going to happen with this area. That white table and chair is not going to stay there. It was there before, but that's going to be fun to plant up and run some vines. Like, for example, I've been having this star jasmine. It's called Confederate. I prefer not to say Confederate, but just a star jasmine that is going to go back there and train it to run up the actual gazebo. Okay. Um, some pots that are just sitting around because we were moving a lot of stuff last night as we were working back here. Those will get moved to other places. I have some asparagus fern in there. And I also have a couple of crepe myrtles that just popped up on their own. And I pulled them out of the ground and put them in these pots. I know this is a red one I had from last year, but they'll get moved around somewhere else. Still working on leaves, leaves, leaves. Oh my God, I cannot get rid of the live oak tree leaves for the life of me. My vacuum that I usually use to vacuum up leaves, it is not working for some reason. So that slowed me down a lot. Aren't these cute? I found these on some website, Sheen, I believe it is. They're garden balls, and I just love them. They're so cute. They really reflect when the sun is out. They're mirrored balls, and so I just threw them in the pots. And the funny thing is, I didn't even know that, and I don't know if you can see it at the top of this pergola or gazebo that we put up last night. It actually came with a mirrored ball on the top of it. That was not planned, but I thought that was cool. You never see it under that tree though. Okay, so I popped in a few annuals back here, and everything's gonna look so much better once I get the leaves out and put some mulch in. And the lamb's ear, I haven't cleaned those up. I did the other ones, but I usually come through and pull all the ugly out, and just make it look a lot better so it can breathe and get that out and allow the new foliage to start to come through. Just haven't gotten to that yet. Let's see what else. My plan is to, again, drip irrigation is going to come through here right now. Last year I had to use a temporary fix of pulling a garden hose that's 100 feet long from the front of my house all the way back, and then I connected just a drip hose to it, just to try to get through the summer. Last year we were struggling so hard, but I'm going to be replacing that with drip irrigation to come through here on basically all beds, so I can cut back on hand watering and actually maybe leave town and take a vacation sometimes. Um, so again, that's why I haven't put mulch in these areas. Those are all those freaking leaves. Now, those are red tip leaves. Oh, and by the way, there are seedlings coming through. Again, these are going to be zinnias, but red tip trees. I just shown you the red tip shrub, and you tree form them. That means that you keep the suckers off the bottom. So I will come through and snip these later to keep that clean, where it's just a tree, and keep all of the leaves. I cut all the branches from this area until it gets into the shape of a tree. Now, this started off as that same little shrub we just looked at. Oop, there go my finger in the way. We put this in, I think, around 2017 or 18 maybe, but it's been over this fence for at least the last 3-4 years. It doesn't take long. These grow super, super fast. Here's a second one here. Same thing. Tree farmed that one. And what I love about them is this time of year in the spring, they put out these beautiful, gorgeous little flowers. So that's pretty awesome. But look at this lamb's ear here. That's just one lamb's ear. It's at least 3 feet wide. And yeah, at least 3 feet wide. Only about 18 inches off the ground, but just stunning, beautiful. Now, What I should do is chop it up and take some pieces and transplant it to other locations. But I think I'm gonna leave this one, just see how much larger it actually will get. It's starting to look like ground cover. Another mystic blue salvia, a rock rose, which is native to Texas. This will put off pink flowers all over it for the summer. The Turk's cap that you typically see that grows to be about 5 to 6 feet tall, which means almost to the top of that fence. I cut it back every single year to the ground, and it's starting to come back. Right now, it is, well, not right now, but I think when it gets to be a 5 feet tall, it's probably about 5 to 6 feet wide as well. I do not have not ground cover, I do not have landscape fabric under this area. So I do notice that it spreads through, underneath the grounds, kind of run these shoots of roots, and it runs different directions. And I'm bringing that up because this one is several years old, but it's a lot smaller. Well, I have landscape fabric starting about here. So it's actually helped to control those roots from shooting from left to right and creating this massive plant that I really didn't want to get too large. Let me go back up for a second because I planted a new wisteria on this arch. It's only maybe about 3, 4 feet now. Coming up the arch. When I first got it, it was probably here. So it's already put on over 12 plus inches. But this is what it will look like. Okay, how beautiful is that? And this one is starting to peter out a little bit. I may have some pictures I can pop up from a couple of weeks ago. You can see where all the purple flowers are starting to fall into the pathway. But let me get a little close to that purple. That is just gorgeous. I call her Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Just beautiful. I love this thing. But look at the branches, how thick it is. And I think they can get even thicker. I will say this, make sure you have something that is very sturdy that you can hold, that can hold this. Um, this is metal. It's very inexpensive. When I picked it up, it was like $99. They're about $150 now. Safia, can't remember the name of the company. I'll put that up. I like them, but I have 3 of them. Same exact, and then there's one that's over there. I'm not growing anything on it. I will say this, it comes with these long spikes that you can push into the ground to hold this up. But mine is starting to lean because of the weight of this amethyst wisteria, and it's pretty heavy. So you got to have something that is substantial enough to hold this in place long term. My thing is, now it's been 2.5, maybe third season that this has been on here. And yeah, if I keep it for 5 years, maybe I've got my $99 worth, but I'd like to keep it for as long as possible. But what I need to do is come back and put some concrete in the bottom of those legs to maybe help it stay on there. This is becoming another hot mess zone because I fight it a lot because of crabgrass. No matter how much I pull it out, crabgrass seems to mix in a lot with these daylilies, which are starting to bud up just since last night. They're starting to open up, but I don't know what I'm doing in this area. I have a couple of red, which they are beautiful, red crepe myrtle trees that have been here for many years, as long as these huge ones here, but they never gotten much bigger than this. There are different varieties, so always check what type of crepe myrtle you're buying so you know the height of it and whether you should put it too close to your house or not. These are baby gem boxwoods that are probably 3 to 4 years old now, and they need to be shaped up. Some of them doing better than others. I have replaced a couple of them along the way. Again, I have not cut back tulips and daffodils yet, so you see those still poking up out of the ground, and it's starting to rain on me. I'm going to get through this part because I got one lovely thing I want to show you. And so I do have a couple of annuals that I've put in. These will get really large. That particular type like sun, part sun really. And this tree here, it shades this area some to give it some of that part sun that it needs, or part shade that it needs. So I can't wait to get this cleaned up, all the leaves out, and then also some mulch in. It'll look so much prettier. And now I just moved this archway from, it used to be over where the new metal gazebo is. I moved it here. My goal is to plant some type of climbing rose on it because I do get full sun right here in this area. And when you walk through here, you're now entering what I call Laterra Gardens. That's my daughter's middle name. Laterra means of the earth. And so I just love this area. It was never intended to be a rose garden. I just put some roses back here because it's the sunniest spot. And I can't go through every single plant. I don't want to make this video too long, but I love this area because it's blue. For whatever reason, I am into blue right now. This is my second season. I'm feeling blue. And I've always done reds and tans and browns. And so my Joseph's coat is looking pretty good. And I have a Broadway rose and I have an iceberg. Those are the only three. Joseph's coat, this is an iceberg, and this is a Broadway. But this Broadway over here is stunning. Oh my goodness. Look at these blooms. Isn't that beautiful? Wow. But look at all these ugly leaves. This is from the live oak. Live oak is my least favorite tree, y'all. I can't stand that tree. Oh, look at the pretty little birdie. Hey, birdie. Oh, wait, that's not real. But isn't it cute though? Okay. So I have salvia that's coming back from last year and some seedlings that are coming through, and there are seedlings all in there. So I can't really ask someone to do the leaves for me because oftentimes people don't know what's a weed and what's not. They'll just yank everything up. So I have to clean that up personally because it's just not cute right now. Um, the Tangerine Beauty cross vine was in its glory about a month ago, but it too is starting to not look so great. But it's hanging on, still hanging on. It climbed up into the tree a little bit as well. I don't have water fountains on, but oh, I just caught something. My grandson was here yesterday, and I see his little bird has made its way into the fountain. He's thrown it in there. I used to have a stick on it, and you poke it into a planter, and it would dangle in the wind, the hummingbird. But now he has turned it into a hummingbird fish. Okay, so make my way around here. My next goal, I'm going to plant up this area. I got to figure out what plants would go best here. And I love, 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 love white vinca. Um, I do have white vinca in some of the potted plants up front. Oh, let me go back for a second. I didn't talk about it's raining and I'm trying not to make this too long. So I put two trees in these pots. These are little gem magnolias. Look, I'm running out of space. Obviously, I can't do too many more trees back here. I should count how many trees I have because it's a lot of trees out here, but I love it. So I put those there in pots and I'm going to be putting some flowers in to underplant it. But I don't know if I should have done this or not. And I'm thinking I should not have. I put in blue point juniper trees, but I underplanted them with white vinca. I have to be careful because blue point juniper does not want to be soaking in water. They're in planter pots, which means they will dry out a little faster than if they were in the ground. Um, but if this requires more water, and I don't need to give this water, and it's white because I dusted this with mite control just preemptively to make sure I don't get anything on these junipers because they are susceptible sometimes to mite if you start to see the brown spots. And so I may have to rip those flowers out and put them back here. So let me go back where I was. When you enter into this little supposed secret garden that one day it will become, I wanted to have something tall going all the way around where you were enclosed, but I planted wintergreen boxwoods because they like both sun and shade. And they do get up to about 6 feet tall. I don't think I'll let them get that tall. I'm going to shape them some kind of way once I figure that out. But in the meantime, I want to put some pretty color back here and or something just will pop like white vinca, one of my favorite things. Those get really large and a good size. So I'm going to put groupings in between, I think, each of the shrubs and maybe come back with some other plants as well. I am going to have to extend this bed a little bit closer because I'm going to plant something there to climb up. Like I said, the Carolina jasmine. Not Carolina jasmine, the star jasmine. And I also have, I have another jasmine in the front, 2 pots. I haven't put it in ground yet. I forgot what kind they are, but I'll check on that. I'm going to put them maybe there as well. And they all have white flowers. I love, love white flowers. So I'll have groupings of white flowers all the way down the bed, and then vines with white flowers. And then these crepe myrtles have white flowers as well. So um, I came through here earlier. I'm going to head back up. It's starting to rain come down a little bit more, and it's cold. It is cold. Oh, real quick. So you guys, you know that I started building this pea gravel in 2019 because we were all sinking with our chairs in the grass whenever it was wet outside. So I started off just with pea gravel, but just here recently in the last couple of weeks, I've been bringing in these 12 by 12 squares to add underneath the dining room table so we wouldn't sink in it. And I'm not done yet, but I need to flush this out and just by pushing gravel up against it. But there is a little bit of a drop off. And over here, I had a sprinkler head that I did not have capped off. And I don't want to cap it off because I needed to water a couple of pots over here. But I couldn't fit a square there. So I picked up what they call Old Town bricks at HD, Home Depot. And I just started trying to make a little design. I'm not done yet. Started this in the dark last night. A little design around this area. So I'm going to finish it off going all the way down to make a border. And then I think I'm going to continue on with brick border around the whole thing. So that's the plan. And that same brick is going to become the little entry area here. I'm going to make a little brick porch. And I would possibly, I'm really thinking about making that brick porch and then a brick pathway all the way up to here. So that's a thought. And I think that's going to be it for now. What's coming up? I am trying to get my pergola painted. So for example, you see how horrible this looks. Look at that paint right there. So the sun and the hail storms that we've had has beaten this up really, really bad. So I started with the stuff that's called Ready Seal. It is called Mission Brown, which is the same as my cedar fence. I am now applying it to the actual pergolas. So that ugly that I just showed to you out there, this looked the same, but when I put on the Mission Brown, it's so much better. Much, much, much better. But it's very tedious and I haven't finished. I need to do that one. And that's what's coming up next. A few more things. Drip irrigation, I mentioned. That's a big project that hopefully is going to free me up. And well, guys, oh, and I'm chopping down a tree I didn't plant. Look at that thing. I think it's a mulberry tree. Oh, I can't stand it. And so that's it for now. I am going to stop here. Once again, I appreciate you guys always checking in and making comments. Please give me some feedback on things that you've seen today. You may have some suggestions, and I'd love to take those from you. But once again, planting life matters.